We are back with another week in a life reseller recap.
It's
we haven't come with a name.
Throwback almost to the original kind of reseller recaps, I feel, because it's more heavy hitting than our normal. It's full of a lot of stuff that is very important, and there's a lot of crazy stuff that's happened recently.
Yes, so I recommend staying for everything, especially if you are a reseller that is not super tied into everything that is going on in the community. There is so much going on this week that you need to know about. If you can't stay for the whole video, we do have chapters below that will let you know everything that we're covering, so you can skip around to the things that are most important to you. But as always, we are going to start with packaging so you guys can see what is selling right now. And yeah, this one is actually a little unique. This is only Poshmark packages. There is a reason for that, but we're not ready to reveal it yet, but it will be a future video. So let's get right into packaging.
The first item is going to be a pair of Everlane pants. They are white denim, sold for $20. Now these were a little bit flawed. They were
weirdly discolored.
A couple minor discoloration marks, but it wasn't terrible. Sold for $20. That's a little bit low for them, but given the condition, that's not surprising.
The next item is a Barbour brown fleece jacket. This sold for $30. I got a lot of interest on this item for quite a while, and I just couldn't seem to get it to sell for a price that I was happy with. I do think my photos might have not shown the color as accurately, and it may have confused people a little bit.
It was a little bit greenish brown.
Yeah.
It was not a full brown. It was kind of an olive brown.
Yeah, it was a little bit hard to capture on camera, but it sold for $30 and it sold pretty quickly.
So next is a Victoria's Secret robe. It was a cream robe, vintage gold tag Victoria's Secret, sold for $25. That had been sitting for a while, but it wasn't that long in our inventory, so happy to see it go for $25. You paid only a few dollars for it because it was in the intimate section.
Yeah, I definitely recommend looking through those intimates because you can get really great deals on them, and if they sell for $25, you're still in the green. The next item here is a magic suit bathing suit. Now, if you guys watched our bins video from a while ago, like a decade ago, we actually found magic suit and we weren't sure what it was, and we were like, oh, I think it looks like a good brand, and we found out that it was a sister brand to Miracle Suit. If you don't pick up Miracle Suit, you should, but this sold for $30, and I will say Magic Suit and Miracle Suit both seem to have about the same amount of interest, so those sister brands are two to definitely look out for, especially as we're moving into the warmer weather. Thank goodness.
Yeah, seasonally it's going to start to pick up even more, and you want to buy anything that you find. Next, this is going to be a horrible thing for me.
This is all on him. I want to let you know that I have nothing to do with this mistake. Finally,
this is maybe the worst failure that I've had in helping you with packing.
And not the worst failure we've had as a business. It's usually me, but this is him.
So this is a pair of Picolinos. We actually have two pairs. I sent the wrong ones. Yeah, so we're still in the process of resolving that. I think that Posh is just going to send them back, unfortunately.
Yes, the return has been accepted, and Poshmark has indicated if we would like to resell this, we need to put it up for sale again, and the buyer will have to repurchase, so we'll see how that goes. But yes, the wrong one was sold.
Yeah, it was my bad. I thought we only had one pair. That's my bad.
The next item here is a Sundance dress. It was a nude lace overlay dress. It was really, really pretty, and Sundance usually sells quite well for us, and this was no exception. This sold for $36. I think as we're moving into that warmer weather, people are starting to look for dresses that they can wear to weddings and other type of outdoor events, and this was perfect for that, and I love selling Sundance.
Next one is something that has been sitting for an eternity.
This is
SL Fashion's New York. Was a sequiny monstrosity.
Yeah.
Sold for $15. It's been sitting in one of the buckets for I don't even know how long, since you started reselling. I don't know where it came from. One of the boxes.
It came from one of the boxes that we unboxed with you guys. It was one of those new with tag boxes. Of course I did not pick it up because SL Fashions is nothing. It's a boutique. But it sold for $15. So hey, I'm happy with that.
It wasn't worth the sitting on it for 10 years.
No. The next item here is a bra. It was a Wacol bra, size 38C. This sold for $18. It was new at tag, so I did expect to get a little bit more money for it, but Wacol sells quite well, so if you do find it, I would grab it. I will say that with all bras, the larger the size, the better it seems to sell, and also the more kind of cool they look, more detailing, and this was just plain black, so I think that might have hurt me.
Next up is a brand that we talk about all the time, Spanx. Buy it all of the time. Unless it's trashed and damaged beyond repair, buy all of the Spanx. Sold for $32. These were a jegging material, I think. Yeah. So they were like almost jeans, but not quite.
And they were distressed.
So they were distressed. They had the raw hem, I believe, and they were just very stylish. Sold for $32. So that's a little bit low for Spanx. We just kind of were looking at trying to revive our sales. So taking any offers that we can, making what money we can and moving on, and then just trying to to make Poshmark like us again.
Yes. The next item here is a pair of Universal Standard jeans. They were a size 22. I have noticed that Universal Standard has been dropping in price a little bit. I used to be able to sell them for closer to $40. Now we're looking at closer to $30, and these sold for $28. So if you are going to be picking these up, I would recommend keeping the price point around $5 to $7, but they do sell, and they always sell relatively quickly if you price them right. So I still say Universal Standard is a great brand to sell, even though that price is going down.
Next is an Anthropologie moth sweater cardigan. It was an orange cashmere kind of feel.
Yeah.
Open knit, so very stylish and very cute. It has been sitting for a while, but it was sold for $25, so can't complain.
Moth is a very consistent Anthropologie brand for us. It doesn't sell for a lot of money. You're looking at the $20 to $30 range, but it sells all the time. We sell every piece of Moth that we pick up. So if you aren't picking up Moth because you think that it's not going to sell for a good price, I would definitely recommend giving it a second look, because it's always, always, always selling for us. Now, the next item here is a Miss Elaine nightgown. We got this out of a liquidation box that we purchased. I don't even know if we've told you guys about this liquidation company. So if you are curious about what it is, let us know in the comments below, because we could probably talk about it. I've done a whole box, and I have an idea of how I feel about this company. But it was a vintage gown. It was satiny, kind of cute. It sold for $19. I did actually reach out to Breezy on Instagram. If you don't know her, I will pop her handle on the screen for you guys. She's really, really great with vintage items, and especially vintage nightwear. And she told me, yeah, you should probably expect around $20-25. So $19 is right in line with that.
And then the last item is going to be Lucy Power Max black cropped pants. So these were from a flip item, thankfully. Now we are winding down on our flip items. We're actually sending one of them back, unfortunately, but sold for $23. Can't really complain about that, especially when it's free to us. Flip is a great way to supplement inventory if you are busy with a job or just needing extra inventory to fill things out so you're listing consistently. $23, I mean, can't complain.
Moving on, Tyler has another tip for you guys. You guys seem to really like these, so let's get right into Tyler's tip.
So this is for boxes. So if you don't have shoe boxes, you can actually use a medium priority box for this. And what you're going to do is, instead of filling in the space with packing material and adding to the weight, you can actually fold down the inside edges of the box to kind of wedge the shoes in place and save yourselves that additional weight, and it keeps them snug and secure for shipping.
Awesome. I like saving weight, especially if you're selling on eBay. So if you are a new eBay seller and you're looking for ways to kind of cut down that weight, this is a great way to do that. So thank you. Okay, next thing here is going to harken back to our video where we said we failed as a reseller. Now, I saw a lot of comments, by the way, about saying the word failed and how that was clickbaity. And I want to just say that was actually how I felt at the time, and still kind of do now, because it is something that we really, really, really wanted to succeed at. And unfortunately, we weren't successful financially in the way that we needed to be. But from that, a lot of people reached out to me and they wanted to know, okay, so if you were a full-time reseller for a few years and you had to go and get a job, didn't it hurt you that you had a gap? I resold for about 3 years, so that does kind of look like a gap on the resume. So what did I do to get a job, especially a job that we are really happy with? Well, I will tell you that I added my reselling business to my resume, and I will absolutely recommend that you do the same and make sure that you really talk about all of the skills that you learned to become a reseller. So some things that you could add on there is inventory management, product research, product photography, marketing, finances, taxes, all of these things that you have to do, that you have to learn by yourself. It's
not a gap. I'm sick of people saying that. It's not a gap. You were working as hard as someone that holds a regular 9-to-5 job. Certainly harder than I am at times. Please, boss, don't watch this. Disregard that. I work very hard. But no, it's all of the things to run a business. That's not a gap. That's you were self-employed and running a business for yourself. That is a worthwhile skill set to put on a resume. You're self-motivated, you work hard, you are driven to accomplish goals without needing instructions. All of that is worthwhile to include on a resume.
Absolutely. And if you are like us and you have a YouTube channel or an Instagram and you want to move into the marketing space, it's even more relevant for you, because you know all about content creation, you know about algorithms, you know about making sure that your content is clickbaity and able to be viewed by as many people as possible. So that is something that you really want to talk about and really put on that resume. Don't feel ashamed of it. It took me a little bit of time to work up to being able to do that, but I'm so glad I did. And they did in fact ask me about this on the interview for the job that I took. So I will absolutely say do that, add it to your resume, make sure that you're really talking about all those attributes. It's going to be really important for you. And good luck to anybody that is trying to get out there and get a job.
Last thing on the resume is that you want to make sure that you're trying to make your resume memorable. So those interesting little things where you did run the reselling business or you do have social media, YouTube, etc., that is a talking point. That is a feature that you want to highlight because that's what's going to make your resume stand out from everyone else, because you are that interesting person that is just not a name on a page.
Absolutely. Don't you even have it on your resume?
I do have professional YouTuber on my resume. Yep. And it has nothing to do with the rest of my resume, but it's on there. So
yeah, it's a great attribute to talk about. So the next topic we have to talk about is, are live sales illegal? Posh shows, whatnot, eBay auctions, anything that with the word auction is it illegal? Because I didn't even consider this at all.
So the answer is yes and no. So it is both illegal and not illegal at the same time.
So we came across a video that I'm going to link up here because I think it's really important that you guys go and support this creator, because we would have never known about this if we didn't find this video. So we found a video and they were talking about how a new law was passed in a certain state, and unfortunately I don't remember which state they were specifically talking about, but it made selling in online auctions essentially illegal unless you had an auctioneer license. So we were super curious after watching this video, like, is it illegal for us? Like, should we be worried about, I've been doing dollar auctions on eBay. I was submitting a few items to live shows to see if it helped me in the algorithm. Should I be concerned? Thankfully, Massachusetts, we love you. Not illegal. It's totally fine. It's great. Awesome. But there is a list of all of the states, and it lets you know what the laws are in your state. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but in quite a few
lot
states.
Of states. Yep. It's probably about half of them.
Yeah, it is illegal in some way, shape, or form. Now, every state seems to have different rules and things that you need to keep in mind. So you're going to need to look at your specific state to know if it is illegal for you. But we did look at a random state because we wanted to know, what does this mean? How would this impact somebody if they were in this state and they were selling in live shows? What would happen? So we did reach out to a few people.
So we reached out to the South Carolina Auction Board. We reached out to the South Carolina Attorney General. We reached out to Whatnot and Poshmark, and we got some responses back. So for South Carolina, it is illegal in all instances, online and in person, to auction items. So cannot sell on Whatnot or Posh live shows without an auctioneer license. So it is very common in the neighboring states. It is not exclusive to South Carolina. So you do want to check with your local state auction board to see if you're breaking the law, basically.
Yes. So we did ask some specific questions, and I wanted to give you their answers so you guys can kind of try and interpret how you want to interpret it. One of our questions was, does the license law apply to online auctioneers such as people selling on Whatnot, Poshmark, and eBay? And they said yes. If you do any facet of online auctioneering in South Carolina, you must hold a South Carolina auctioneer license. And if your business entity is anything other than a sole proprietorship, your business entity must hold a valid South Carolina auction firm license. This would include, but not be limited to, the following: a storefront physically in South Carolina, consignments taken in South Carolina, contracts written in South Carolina, funds received on behalf of the seller, or a seller is paid in South Carolina, or the property for sale in the auction is physically present in South Carolina. So essentially, if you are selling things online, even if you're a sole proprietorship, you would need to have a license to sell anything that is in your possession in South Carolina. So for resellers, that's everything we're selling. So
on top of that, it's any items in South Carolina. So if someone from South Carolina attends your live auction and auctions off an item, that counts.
Yes. So definitely make sure that you're looking at this. Make sure that you keep this in mind when you are going through this. But we want to reach out to the platforms and see, you know, I know personally, when I've talked to some of my friends that have done Posh show training, that Posh has never mentioned that this might be an issue. And that seems really strange to me. You would want your sellers to be informed of any laws that may impact them.
Posh and Whatnot responded.
Yeah.
Posh was surprisingly not the more reasonable of the answers.
Yeah. So I will start with Poshmark. So they said, hi, thanks for reaching out to us. Our terms of service include obligations to comply with applicable laws, rules, and regulations. We recommend consulting an attorney to determine any such laws, rules, and regulations that may apply to you in your state or locality. So Poshmark basically acknowledged, yes, we know that there are laws that may be applicable to you in the Posh show arena, but we're not responsible for them. You are, so make sure that you reach out to an attorney.
It was that sounds like a you problem, not a us problem. I don't care. We don't care. That's not our thing. We are just letting you sell them. You have to not break the law.
Yes.
Basically.
So if you are waiting for the platforms to notify you that you are possibly in violation of your laws in your state, that is not going to happen. They're going to let you continue to sell, and sometime the state might be the one notifying you, and that would not be good. Whatnot was a little bit more nice about it. So it's kind of long, but they basically said state and local laws governing auctions vary widely. Some of these laws require certain individuals conducting auctions to obtain and maintain a license. However, whether and how a particular law applies to what seller may depend on a variety of factors. If you have questions about whether your sales activity at Whatnot may require an auction license, Whatnot recommends you review the auction requirements in the state you are located. So then it kind of gives you suggestions on where you can find this information, which is the websites that we're talking about here. Go to your auctioneer committee in your state. But yeah, so they know, they're aware that
they definitely know, and they don't care.
Yeah.
Neither of them. No one cares other than you, because it's your responsibility.
Yeah. Now, do I think that the state is going to come knocking on your door and telling you to shut down your business or fining you or any of that? I don't think so. I'm not a lawyer, though, so I don't really know.
I'm not a lawyer, but I can fully expect that they would say you must cease and desist until you meet the terms of the law. So you're going to have to pay the auctioneer's license fee. You're going to have to potentially pay for back years. Like, they can probably go after you if they were so inclined.
And some states like South Carolina, it's not just a simple fee. You do have to go through training. It looks like in South Carolina it is 80 hours of training, so that's hefty. So I will say that this does make me question the viability of live sales as to being the future of reselling, as I know a lot of people are saying, because that seems like a lot of hoops to jump through for an average person who is just trying to resell as a hobby or resell, the things that are in their closet. It doesn't seem like that's going to be something that's viable long term, but of course, we are totally open to hearing you as well, because I'm curious, do you guys think that this would be a hurdle, or do you think people don't care? What do you think? Let us know in the comments below.
Us thinking that Poshmark and online auctions are not viable, that's a new and different opinion for us.
Really? I know. It's a 360 for us.
Yeah, we totally changed our mind on that.
The next thing we're going to talk about is really all over TikTok, the news, everything. And I think it's really important that as a community, we take this as a pause to make sure that we're doing the right thing. So if you haven't heard, the Silicon Valley Bank has gone under. So they are no longer with us. There is a whole problem going on here.
Yeah, it's a thing.
And he is from the finance world, not specifically banks or anything like that, but he has a little bit more insight than I would, and I just kind of want him to come on here to give you guys a PSA.
So I am not going to make any specific recommendations on what you should or should not do.
Of course not.
In terms of investing or savings. Full disclosure on that. What I can say is that the bank is covered under FDIC insurance. You are not unless you personally hold an account with said bank. So what does that mean for you? Any of the businesses that use their bank are covered up to $250,000 for all of the assets that are being held there. So of the millions and millions of dollars, they are only covered up to $250,000. It is always recommended that anytime you receive a balance that is redeemable on any selling platform online, you immediately withdraw it. You take it as a check. You just get the money out of the Poshmark account, eBay, Whatnot, Etsy, wherever, so that it is in your own personal bank so that you have the coverage.
Yes. Now, I will say, pause the video right now and redeem all of your funds from all of the platforms. Please do that. Okay, so you've come back now? Great. So what I will say is, from what we've heard for Silicon Valley Bank, the only reselling platform that has admitted that they have problems due to this is Etsy. If you are an Etsy seller, you probably received an email letting you know that your funds are being delayed because they are currently working with other banks to try and secure the funds to be able to get the money back to you. I don't know what that's going to look like. I don't know how successful they're going to be with that. We will see in the next few weeks, maybe even months, of what that's going to look like for Etsy sellers. Poshmark also has released a statement, and I want to read that statement to you because we are all probably going to interpret it differently, and we are going to put our conspiracy theory hats on.
Yeah, there's the conspiracy for this.
Yes. To our Poshmark community. Some of you may have seen the news regarding Silicon Valley Bank and its impact on some marketplaces' ability to issue customer redemptions. I want to assure everyone in our seller community that all accounts on Poshmark continue to be safe and secure. We do not use SVB to store customer or marketplace funds, and your ability to process payments and redemptions is not affected. This comes from the Chief Operating Officer at Poshmark.
That's very reminiscent of a different scandal from a while ago involving a president, Bill Clinton. I did not have relations with that woman. Sounds awful lot like we don't have customer accounts there. Our accounts for the business might be there.
Yes. So if you don't know anything about Silicon Valley Bank, I just want to kind of let you know who they are. They are a bank in Silicon Valley, California.
We're a bank.
They were a bank in Silicon Valley, California, and their focus was on entrepreneurial tech startups. So where is Poshmark located? Silicon Valley. What are they? An entrepreneurial tech startup. So Do I believe that Poshmark has accounts with Silicon Valley Bank, or had? I do, personally. Now, we have no proof of this. This is our conspiracy theory. I do think that they have accounts. Now, does that mean that our funds are affected? Probably not. I mean, hopefully not. I hope they didn't just lie to us. But we don't know.
That means is if you don't take the money out of their account, that is on their balance sheets to keep the lights on. So if the money that you have earned belongs to Poshmark until you take it.
Yes. So my recommendation, and this is coming from me, is just please take your funds out. Who knows what's going to happen? We can't possibly predict. And as we all know, Poshmark does not tend to be super transparent with anything they do. So I would make sure that you are taking care of you, because Poshmark will take care of Poshmark. So that is all my PSA here for now. If we have more information, we will definitely give it to you guys. But yeah, it's very interesting to see how this is going to roll out.
And we're already seeing Etsy is delaying and or pausing payments because of this issue. So if it can happen to Etsy, it can certainly happen to other platforms where they are not going to pay you the money that you earned.
Yes, so definitely make sure you take action now. Finally, we're not out of hot water, guys.
Oh,
we're
it's
not
just
out.
doom and gloom on this one. It's the apocalypse is here, everyone.
So a while ago, we told you guys about the Informed Consumers Act, and we are here to tell you that it is now law. So
Yes.
This has been signed into law under the Appropriations Act of 2023, and it will become effective on June 27th, 2023.
So what the Informed Consumers Act is, it's going to require all online platforms to provide to consumers online sellers information. So name, phone number, address,
email,
all of that is going to be posted on each one of the listings, and likely also on confirmations of each sale transaction.
Yeah, now there are provisions in the law, which you can go ahead and read if you want to do so, that kind of give a little bit of flexibility on how this is done. You can put it directly on the listing, you can put it in a confirmation email, but it must be provided to the buyer at a point of sale. There are also provisions where if you are an online seller that sells out of your home, you can provide only your state and country. However, you would have to get an exception from the platform to do this. And if the platform finds out that you have lied and that you don't sell out of your home, but you have a business address that you just don't want to provide, they can fine you for this. So there is going to be a lot to see on how the platforms implement this, how they make sure that they are in compliance with this, and there are fines that they can face as well as sellers can face for not complying. There also needs to be a way for people to report if they feel that somebody is not in compliance. And I mean, again, we're on conspiracy theory time, but I know with the things reporting with inauthentic items on Poshmark, things like that, people do it because they don't like you. People do it because you're competition. So is this going to be another situation where people are reporting you for non-compliance because they just don't like you? Because that would not be so good. Not so good.
No, there's also provisions in the law that if you do not provide the information to the platform, so don't give the information to Posh, eBay, wherever, they're required, not recommended, they are required to suspend your account until you are in compliance. So if you do not do this, you are not going to be able to sell online.
Yeah.
Full stop.
So what to expect in the next few months, I would expect that the platforms are going to be reaching out to us for a government ID. If you've already supplied one, you're probably okay. But they are probably going to reach out for a government issued ID. They're going to probably reach out for you to confirm your contact information, your social, and your address. Probably also your name. I know, like, for me, and I don't know if a lot of other people do this, but I have my name kind of truncated on the label because I didn't want people to be able to type in my name and find me, because my name is super unique that it would be super easy to do. I don't know if they're going to ask me to fix that. So things like that I expect coming up. I would expect a lot of updates on the app. They might not even explain what they are, but to become in compliance, there's going to be things they need to do. So I would expect that on all of the apps that you're selling on, there are going to be updates. So you're going to be seeing
massive amounts of updates are coming, because they have until June.
Yes, so June 27th, they have to be up and running. So we'll be seeing some changes as we go along, and we'll see what that looks like. But I'm a little cautious about this. I don't know how I feel.
I'm worried that they're going to not make a differentiation on sellers that are active full-time sellers and hobby sellers, or just people selling on the platform in general. My concern is that they are just going to blanket require this of anyone that wants to sell on the platform just across the board. And maybe they will have a way to activate it once you hit the threshold of 20,000 on the platform. Maybe they will not. Maybe they'll just say, you know what, everyone, equal playing field. It's just going to be the requirement across the board. That's easier for us. we don't care.
I think that they are going to be very concerned about penalties. The penalty per violation is approximately $40,000.
Yeah.
There's more numbers there, but $40,000. So they're not going to want that to happen. So I see them very much just shutting people down, just in fear that they could get a violation. So I definitely think that we need to be super careful and super aware of any alerts that we're getting of things that they need to have from us, because it's going to be important that we put that in there. Now, I know that we kind of said this really quickly and we probably didn't give you full information, but that's because we've already done a video on the Informed Consumers Act that you guys can go and check out if you want to know our feelings on it and how, if we wanted this to become a law. You can definitely check that out and see all of the information we gave you in the video right here. Click this link on the screen.